Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive with me?
Absolutely.
Today we're tackling blood cancer.
Oh, yeah.
I uh I know it's a heavy topic,
It is.
but I think it's something that we all really want to understand better.
It's so important.
And to help us with that, we're going to be taking a look at this really great overview from the Cleveland Clinic.
Really great source.
They've got a ton of information.
Yeah.
So let's just dive right in.
Let's do it.
Blood cancer.
Yeah. Blood cancer is serious.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
It really affects like the very foundation of life, our blood cells.
Right.
But the really amazing thing
Yeah.
is that treatment has advanced so much.
Oh my gosh.
In the past 40 years,
I can't even imagine.
if you look at acute lymphoblastic leukemia,
Okay.
which is a very common type of leukemia in children,
Mm-hmm.
40 years ago, only about 25% of people survived.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Now that number is closer to 90%.
Wow.
It's incredible, the progress.
90%. That is a huge leap forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's go back to the basics.
Okay.
What exactly is blood cancer?
So think of it this way.
Okay.
Deep inside our bones, we have the spongy tissue called bone marrow,
Okay.
and it's like a bustling factory,
Oh, wow.
churning out all these different types of blood cells. Red blood cells,
Mm-hmm.
which are the delivery trucks carrying oxygen throughout the body.
Okay.
White blood cells, which are like the soldiers fighting off infections.
Okay.
And platelets, which are like the tiny repair crews
Interesting.
patching up any leaks in our blood vessels.
Okay.
Blood cancer disrupts this entire production line.
So it's like a wrench in the machinery.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
With blood cancer, abnormal blood cells start multiplying out of control
Okay.
in the bone marrow,
Oh, wow.
crowding out the healthy ones.
So it's not just the abnormal cells themselves, it's the ripple effect that they create.
Precisely.
Okay.
Those healthy cells can't do their jobs properly, so it leads to all sorts of problems.
Okay.
Now, blood cancer isn't just one disease.
All right.
It's a group of diseases.
Okay.
We're talking about leukemia,
Mm-hmm.
lymphoma,
Okay.
and myeloma.
The big three.
Yeah,
I'm already picturing this like a tree with different branches.
that's a great analogy.
Oh.
Leukemia is like the roots,
Okay.
impacting the very foundation of blood cell production in the bone marrow.
Yeah.
Lymphoma affects the branches,
Okay.
specifically the lymphatic system, which is part of our immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And myeloma impacts the leaves,
Okay.
the plasma cells, which are responsible for producing antibodies to fight off infections.
Wow, that visual really helps me understand the different areas that each type affects.
Yeah.
So what causes these different blood cancers in the first place?
So the common thread here is changes in the blood cell's DNA,
Okay.
also known as mutations.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine your DNA is a recipe for a delicious dish.
Okay.
Someone swaps out a crucial ingredient, the final product is going to be very different,
Right.
and in this case, very unwanted.
Yeah, for sure. So it's like the instructions for the cells get messed up.
Exactly.
Okay.
But what triggers these DNA changes can differ depending on the type of blood cancer.
Okay.
So let's start with leukemia.
Okay.
Research suggests that a combination of genetic predisposition
Mhm.
and environmental factors might be at play.
So like what kind of environmental factors?
Things like exposure to high levels of radiation
Okay.
or certain chemicals.
Yikes. That sounds pretty scary. What about lymphoma? What throws a wrench into the lymphatic system?
Lymphoma is a bit more complex.
Okay.
We know it involves lymphocytes,
Mhm.
those white blood cells that are key players in our immune system.
Right.
But why they go rogue and start multiplying uncontrollably is still a bit of a mystery.
Oh, wow.
Some research points to infections like the Epstein-Barr virus
Okay.
and a weakened immune system
Oh.
as potential culprits.
So it's kind of like a combination of internal and external factors
Yeah.
that are conspiring to disrupt the immune system's balance.
Right.
Fascinating, but also unsettling.
Yeah.
What about myeloma? What causes those leaves,
Mhm.
the plasma cells, to malfunction?
So in myeloma, the plasma cells, those antibody factories,
Yeah.
receive faulty genetic instructions that make them multiply out of control.
So it's like someone hit the fast forward button on the production line.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
They're churning out defective products.
Okay.
And we're still learning about the exact triggers.
Okay.
But chromosomal changes impacting genes that
Mhm.
regulate plasma cell growth are likely involved.
Okay, so it seems like each type has its own unique set of culprits.
Yeah.
This is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But let's say someone suspects they might have blood cancer.
Yeah.
What are some of the warning signs?
That's where things get a little tricky
Okay.
because symptoms can be sneaky
Right.
and often mimic other less serious conditions. But here's what you should watch out for. Persistent fatigue that doesn't go away with rest.
Okay.
Unexplained fevers and drenching night sweats.
Mm-hmm.
Unusual bleeding or bruising.
Okay.
And unexplained weight loss.
So basically, if you're experiencing any of these things and they just don't seem right,
Right.
it's worth getting checked out by a doctor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's always better to err on the side of caution,
For sure.
especially with blood cancer. Early detection is crucial.
Absolutely. Speaking of detection, how do doctors actually diagnose blood cancer?
Well, it starts with a thorough medical history
Okay.
and a physical exam.
Yeah.
But to get a definitive diagnosis,
Yeah.
doctors will order a battery of tests.
Tests, like what kind of tests?
A complete blood count, or CBC, is the first step.
Okay.
It measures the different types of blood cells in your blood.
Okay.
For example, in leukemia, you might see a high white blood cell count
Okay.
and lower than normal red blood cell and platelet counts.
So it's like a snapshot of what's happening inside the blood factory.
Exactly. And
Okay.
then there are blood chemistry tests,
Okay.
which measure the levels of various substances in the blood,
Mm-hmm.
helping to identify any abnormalities.
Okay.
But to get a more detailed picture,
Yeah.
doctors will often turn to imaging scans,
Okay.
like CT scans,
Mhm.
MRIs,
Okay.
and PE scans.
I've heard of those. They're like taking a peek inside the body, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They provide these detailed images
Yep.
of the body's internal structures,
Uh-huh.
helping doctors detect tumors,
Right.
assess bone marrow involvement,
Okay.
and look for signs of complications.
Okay.
And sometimes,
Yeah.
to get the most definitive diagnosis,
Uh-huh.
a bone marrow biopsy is needed.
A bone marrow biopsy. That sounds a bit intense.
It is a bit more invasive,
Okay.
but it provides the most accurate information.
Okay.
It involves taking a small sample of bone marrow from the hip bone
Okay.
and examining it under a microscope.
Gotcha.
This allows doctors to analyze the percentage of normal and abnormal blood cells
Okay.
and look for specific genetic changes.
Okay, so once a diagnosis is made,
Mhm.
what happens next? What are the treatment options?
Well, treatment for blood cancer is not one size fits all.
Okay.
It's highly individualized
Okay.
and depends on the type and stage of the cancer,
Mm-hmm.
the patient's overall health,
Okay.
and other factors.
So it's like a personalized battle plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of the most common approaches.
Okay.
Chemotherapy and radiation therapy
Mm-hmm.
are often the cornerstones of treatment.
Okay.
They target and kill cancer cells.
Okay.
Chemotherapy uses powerful drugs,
Yeah.
while radiation uses high-energy rays.
Okay, those are like the traditional heavy hitters.
Yeah.
What else is in the arsenal?
Well, in recent years, immunotherapy has emerged as a real game changer.
Yeah.
It basically harnesses the body's own immune system to fight the cancer cells.
Wow, so instead of just attacking the cancer cells directly,
Mm-hmm.
we're empowering the body's natural defenses to do the work.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then there's targeted therapy,
Okay.
which is a newer approach
Okay.
that focuses on specific genetic changes in cancer cells.
That sounds really precise.
Yeah, it's like a guided missile,
Oh, wow.
zeroing in on the cancer cell's vulnerabilities and
Yeah.
taking them out with precision.
That's amazing how far treatment has come.
It really is.
Wow.
And for difficult to treat cases,
Yeah.
there's CAR T-cell therapy.
Okay.
This involves taking a patient's own immune cells,
Mm-hmm.
re-engineering them in a lab to make them more effective cancer fighters,
Oh, wow.
and then infusing them back into the patient.
That's incredible. It's like science fiction becoming reality.
Yeah.
And what about stem cell transplants?
Yeah.
I've heard those can be life-saving for people with blood cancer.
You're right. Stem cell transplants can be incredibly powerful. They involve replacing damaged bone marrow with healthy stem cells,
Okay.
essentially rebooting the blood cell production system.
Oh, wow.
It's a complex procedure
Yeah.
and potentially risky,
Right.
but for some people, it can be a true lifesaver.
It's incredible to think about all these different treatment options.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process,
Mm-hmm.
but also really encouraging
Yeah.
to know that there are so many tools available
Right.
to fight this disease.
Absolutely.
But, I imagine it's not just about fighting the disease. It's
Mhm.
also about living well with it.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
Living with blood cancer is a journey
Yeah.
that affects every aspect of a person's life.
And that's a perfect segue into our next chapter. We've covered a lot of ground,
Yeah.
from understanding what blood cancer is to exploring the different types,
Yeah.
causes, and treatment options. Now let's dive deeper into what it actually means to live with this disease.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to our deep dive into blood cancer. Now that we've got a handle on the science,
Yeah.
let's kind of shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and explore the human side of things.
Absolutely.
It's one thing to understand like the mechanics of the disease,
Right.
but it's another thing entirely to really grasp
Yeah.
what it feels like to actually live with it
Every day.
every single day.
Yeah, the journey
Yeah.
that affects every aspect of a person's life.
Absolutely.
Their physical health, their
Mhm.
relationships,
Right.
their work,
Right.
their sense of self.
Yeah.
It's a lot to navigate.
You know, our source material mentioned that over 1 million people in the U.S.
Wow.
are either living with blood cancer or are in remission.
That's a lot of people.
That's a staggering number.
Yeah,
And each one of those individuals has their own unique story.
absolutely. Each story is filled with moments of incredible strength
Yeah.
and resilience,
Right.
but also moments of fear, uncertainty, and frustration. It's important to acknowledge that full spectrum of emotions.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the challenges.
Yeah.
What are some of the most common things that people struggle with?
Well, fatigue is a major one.
Fatigue.
It's not just regular tiredness, it's
Mhm.
like this bone-deep exhaustion
Yeah.
that can make even the simplest tasks feel impossible.
Wow.
And it's not just during treatment.
Right.
Fatigue can linger long after.
That sounds incredibly draining.
It is.
It's like having your energy reserves constantly depleted.
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
there's the emotional toll
Right.
of the diagnosis itself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's a life-altering event
Absolutely.
that can trigger a whirlwind of emotions.
Yeah.
Fear, anxiety, anger, sadness.
Right.
You know, there's the fear of recurrence, the uncertainty of the future,
Yeah.
and the constant awareness of your own mortality.
It's a lot to process emotionally.
Yeah.
It's almost like having to grieve the life that you had before,
Yeah.
even while you're fighting for your future.
That's a really insightful way to put it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the financial burden of treatment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Cancer care can be incredibly expensive,
It is.
even with insurance.
It is.
The cost of medications,
Yeah.
hospital stays,
Mhm.
and specialized treatments, it
Yeah.
can quickly add up.
Absolutely. And on top of that,
Yeah.
some people might need to take time off work
Right.
or even stop working altogether,
Yeah,
adding financial strain to an already difficult situation.
absolutely.
It's a lot to juggle.
It really is. And that's why having a strong support system is so crucial during this time.
Support systems,
Yeah.
friends,
Family,
family,
healthcare providers.
healthcare providers.
It sounds like having that network of people that you can rely on
Yes,
makes a world of difference.
absolutely. Loved ones can offer emotional support,
Yeah.
practical help with daily tasks,
Mm-hmm.
and just a listening ear
Right.
when you need to vent or process your feelings.
Yeah.
And support groups,
Okay.
either in person or online,
Yeah.
can provide a safe space
Right.
to connect with others
Yeah.
who truly understand what you're going through.
It's like finding strength in numbers,
Very-
knowing you're not alone in this fight.
Exactly. And it's not just about receiving support, it's also about giving it to.
Oh, that's interesting.
Many people find a sense of purpose and meaning in helping others
Oh, wow.
who are facing similar challenges.
No.
It can be incredibly empowering to share your experience
Yeah.
and offer hope to someone who's just starting their journey.
That makes sense. It's like turning your own experience into something positive,
Yeah,
using it to help others.
exactly. And, you know, sometimes there's this misconception
Okay.
that once you're in remission,
Mm-hmm.
everything goes back to normal.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case.
You're right.
Yeah.
Our source material mentioned remission,
Yeah.
but I have to admit,
Yeah.
I don't fully understand what that means.
Okay.
Can you explain? Of course. Remission means that the signs and symptoms of cancer have disappeared,
Okay.
either partially or completely.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean the cancer is gone for good,
Right.
but it does mean that it's under control
Okay.
and not actively causing problems.
So it's like a ceasefire.
That's a great analogy.
Okay.
And this ceasefire can last for months,
Okay.
years,
Mhm.
or even a lifetime.
Wow.
But even in remission,
Yeah.
regular checkups
Mhm.
and follow-up care
Okay.
are essential
Right.
to monitor for any signs of recurrence.
So it's like a constant state of vigilance,
Yes,
even when things are going well.
exactly. But it's also about learning to embrace the present moment
Yeah.
and find joy and meaning
Right.
in everyday life.
That's a good point.
Living with blood cancer
Yeah.
doesn't mean life stops.
Right.
It just means adapting
Okay.
and finding new ways to thrive.
That's such a powerful message.
Yeah.
It's about focusing on what you can control and making the most of every opportunity.
Right.
But let's be honest.
Yeah.
There are probably days when it's really hard
Sure.
to find that hope,
Absolutely.
to find those moments of joy.
There are going to be tough days.
Right.
Days when fear and uncertainty creep in.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that you are not alone.
Right.
There are people who care about you,
Mhm.
people who want to support you,
Yeah.
and resources available
Right.
to help you through those difficult times.
So what are some things that people can do
Yeah.
to stay strong
Yeah.
and hopeful throughout their journey?
Well, first and foremost, having a strong support system is crucial.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
It seems so important.
Leaning on loved ones,
Mm-hmm.
connecting with support groups,
Okay.
and talking to therapists or counselors
Right.
can provide much needed emotional support and guidance.
So it's about surrounding yourself with people who understand
Yes.
and can offer comfort and encouragement.
And for many people,
Yeah.
faith and spirituality can be a source of strength and solace.
Okay.
Prayer, meditation,
Yeah.
or connecting with a spiritual community
Right.
can provide a sense of peace and hope,
Okay.
especially during challenging times.
So it's about finding comfort and meaning in something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. And then there's the power of gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah, it might sound counterintuitive,
Okay.
but even in the midst of adversity,
Mm-hmm.
there are always things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
The love of family and friends,
Right.
a beautiful sunrise,
Yeah.
a moment of laughter.
The little things.
Focusing on those positive aspects,
Yeah.
no matter how small,
Mm-hmm.
can really shift your perspective
Oh.
and help you find those moments of joy, even in the darkest of times.
It's about finding those glimmers of light,
Yes.
those reminders that life is still beautiful and worth living, even with the challenges.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And never underestimate the power of human connection.
Human connection.
Sharing your story,
Yeah.
connecting with others who understand, and finding a sense of community
Right.
can make a world of difference.
Absolutely.
Whether it's through support groups,
Yeah.
online forums,
Yeah.
or simply talking to a friend or family member,
Right.
human connection can be incredibly healing and empowering.
It's about realizing that you're not alone,
Yeah.
that there are others who have walked this path
Right.
and can offer guidance and support.
And remember, there are resources available to help you navigate this journey.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Organizations like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society,
Right.
online communities,
Yeah.
local support groups,
Yeah.
and your healthcare team.
Right.
Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help.
That's huge.
Yeah, you don't have to go through this alone.
That's a powerful reminder. It's okay to ask for help,
Yes.
to lean on others when you need it.
Absolutely.
And that's a perfect segue into our final chapter.
What's that?
We've explored the science,
Yeah.
the challenges,
The emotional roller coaster.
the emotional roller coaster of living with blood cancer.
Uh-huh.
Now let's wrap up our deep dive
Okay.
by looking at some practical resources and tools
Okay.
that can empower people to take control of their health
Yeah.
and navigate this journey with knowledge and confidence.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into blood cancer.
Yeah.
We've covered so much ground.
It's been a journey.
I know. From the science of the disease.
Yes, the research.
Yeah, to the,
Hmm.
the real lived experiences of
The human side.
the human side of it.
Yeah,
But knowledge is power.
absolutely.
And I'm really eager to
Yeah.
explore some of the resources that are out there
Okay.
to help people through this.
Yeah, thankfully there's some fantastic resources out there.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
our source material from the Cleveland Clinic,
Right.
their website is like a treasure trove of
It's a great website.
reliable information.
Yeah.
On the different types of blood cancer.
They've got it all.
Yeah, treatment options,
Yeah.
even support services.
Everything you need.
Okay, so that's a great place to start for people who are maybe just starting to understand their diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
But what about organizations that are specifically dedicated to blood cancer?
Absolutely. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society LLS,
Oh,
is a true champion for blood cancer patients and their families.
okay.
They offer a wealth of support,
Okay.
from financial assistance
Oh, wow.
to educational materials to one-on-one support from trained professionals.
I was going to say, I love that they have that toll-free helpline.
Yeah,
Because sometimes you just need to talk to someone,
we do.
who gets it.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of online communities.
Yeah.
Social media platforms and online forums
Mm-hmm.
can connect you with people from all over the world who
Yeah.
are facing similar challenges.
That's a good point.
It's like having a virtual support group
Oh, yeah.
at your fingertips.
It's incredible how technology can do that.
Yeah.
Bridge those geographical barriers
Right.
and create those supportive networks. It's like having this global community
Absolutely.
that's rallying around you.
Yeah.
But what about resources that are closer to home?
Well, many hospitals and cancer centers
Yes.
have dedicated support groups
Huh?
and educational programs
Mm-hmm.
specifically for people with blood cancer and their families.
That's great.
And local chapters of organizations like the LLS
Okay.
often host events
Okay.
and workshops right in your community.
So it's worth checking out
Yes.
what's available locally.
Absolutely.
You might be surprised
You might.
by what you find
Yeah.
right in your backyard.
In your own backyard.
And of course, your healthcare team
Right.
is your biggest ally
Absolutely.
throughout this whole thing.
They are there for you.
Right.
Doctors,
Right.
nurses,
Daily.
social workers.
Yeah.
They're all there to support you.
Mhm.
Don't answer your questions.
Right.
Connect you with the resources you need.
It's like having a whole team of
Yep.
experts
Yeah.
in your corner.
Absolutely.
It's empowering to know you're not alone.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah. Knowledge is power.
it really is.
The more you learn about blood cancer,
Mm-hmm.
the better equipped you'll be to advocate for yourself,
Right.
make informed decisions
Yep.
about your care,
Yeah.
and navigate those challenges ahead.
Well said.
Thank you.
And for our listener, thank you for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the world of blood cancer.
Thanks for listening.
We've explored
Yeah.
the complexities of the disease, the strength and the resilience of those living with it,
Right.
and all of those amazing resources that are out there to support them.
They're out there.
We've covered a lot,
Yeah.
but this is just the beginning.
The first step.
Keep learning. Connect with those resources that we talked about,
Keep learning.
and never lose hope.
Absolutely.
You are stronger than you think, and you are not alone.
You are not alone.
There are people who care resources to help, and a brighter future is waiting.
It is.
Until next time,
Yeah.
stay curious and keep learning.